part 2, where we were examining yesterday about the different songs that we sing on Shabbat, some of the history about it we spoke about for the Tefillah. Also, we spoke about on the Friday night. We can speak about also Shabbat lunch, Sudah Shlishit, Havdalah. What are the different Zemirot that we will sing up? And obviously it takes up beautifully, gorgeously a lot of the day, and a very, very important topics. I thought it's definitely an opportune time to speak about that over here. And it happens to be the International Shabbat Project this week. So yeah, definitely a very, very important time to speak about it. So Zemirot of Shabbat, we were speaking about yesterday, the various different songs, especially on the Friday night table as we come in, and we're speaking about various different rabbis that would actually compose the songs. Do we know in all the cases who actually composed each song or not? That's what we're speaking about. So yesterday we were speaking about, for Kiddush, we spoke about Shalom Aleichem, Ribon Kol Elamim, Eshet Chayil, we spoke about yesterday, the Atikano Sudato, where it's divided in 3 parts, Azameh B'Shevachin, Asadeh Sudato, and the B'nai Yichla. This was another very popular song. Then we spoke about some of the Pismonim, the piyutim that we sing on Shabbat. For example, the Kol Mekdesh Shvi'i, which I think that was actually written, if I'm not mistaken, many years ago, I think connected to Rav Moshe ben Kolinimos, we mentioned about yesterday, in Machzor Vitri, if I'm not mistaken, of the 11th century. That's one thing we spoke about. Ashir La'el Asher Shabbat, another gorgeous song from the great Iraqi community of yesterday, very, very popular song, I think, at the time period of to sing it on the Shabbat evening respectively. So now we've spoken about this, we sing this song usually on the Shabbat table. That's something I will definitely point out over here, but this was definitely very much a very popular song of its time, and nothing like the Shabbat songs, and it's one of my personal favorites, actually, that Ashir La'el is, which if any of you are not familiar with it, I'm not going to give you a demonstration now on this live video, but definitely, if you've got like a Machzor, it's actually very much featured in many different places. So he was definitely, he was, Rav Moshe Alevi was, I believe, a great rabbi. I think the National Library of Israel will also chronicle over some of the piyutim that actually featured over there, and very much featured as probably one of the great Iraqi songs of yesteryear. Rav Moshe Halevi was. So I recommend everyone to learn more within regards to him. So yeah, anyone that's joining in at the moment, we are recording a video within regards to the great songs for Shabbat that we use on the fabric of the Shabbat. It's a liturgy of songs and collections in of itself. Okay, now another popular song, which we point out, we spoke about Menucha V'Simcha, more popular definitely among the Ashkenazi community. Once again, I think connected Rabbi Moshe ben Nimos. Then Ma Yedidot, one of the popular songs also. This was very much, I think, Mofia. Yeah. So let's just say something about Ma Yedidot. That's another very, very popular song many people sing about, and many communities would actually delve into it. I think one of the great Ashkenazic songs this actually happens to be, and it's featured very much in Zemirot, Vishirot, Tishbachot, and I think it's a acrostic, let's just say vision, let's just say in of itself, to the name. So that's very, very interesting. Anyone joining live to the video, please subscribe to the channel. We're exploring about the great different Shabbat songs that we sing every week. So welcome to our channel, and please subscribe. We've got fantastic songs and insights. Maya Fit is another song that we sing on Shabbat. It says of it, Zamer Hanimsa B'Sidur Moshar B'Sudat L'Shabbat. It's very much a Shabbat night song. I think it actually comes from the year 1515 in Prague, and it really brings about the oneg, the delight of Shabbat. I think it actually appears to it the name Mordechai Bar Yitzhak, which I have to point out, it could be maybe, yeah, I think it's the same author as a famous song Ma'osor, if I'm not mistaken, or there's some sort of connection within regards to the two songs. Ma'osor is obviously the popular song that we sing on Chanukah, and it's actually, yeah, it goes all the way back from 13th to 12th century respectively, and yeah, they do say that the composer's name is some name of the name Mordechai. So some people might suggest it was Rabbi Mordechai ben Isaac Halevi, who wrote also Maya Fit, we mentioned about beforehand, but I don't think it's 100% concrete who actually is. Some suggest it's Mordechai, the father-in-law, who was martyred in Mayence Mainz in Germany, I believe, back in the year 1096 as part of the First Crusade, but it's not 100% concrete who was actually the author of this song itself. Okay, so that's interesting. So another popular song that there is Ya Ribon Olam, another one associated to Rabbi Yisrael Najara. Once again, a Shabbat night song. This happens to be. Who was Rabbi Yisrael Najara? He was a famous parshan. He was a mishorer. He was one of the great singers and poets of his time. And he lived at a time, I think he was actually in Gaza, if I'm not mistaken, he lived between 1555 to 1628, a time period of many great rabbis there was at that time. We spoke about that yesterday. He was actually from Damascus, and he actually wrote really different, many different Semirot songs itself, respectively. Ya'achsof Na'um HaShabbat. This is another song, I think, associated to Rabbi Aaron Hagadol Makarlin, if I'm not mistaken. He happened to be another great rabbi of yesteryear. So that's very interesting. So to say a bit about Rabbi Aaron, I think it was an Admor, if I'm not mistaken. That's something that we can definitely say about him in his brilliance. I think he lived at around in the year 1736, 1772. So it's a more recent song. Authorship in of itself, that's something that we definitely have to point out over here. And yeah, very interesting. So let's continue and look at more Shabbat songs. Anyone joining in at the moment on this live video, please subscribe to our channel. We are nearing at the moment 8,000 subscribers, so we appreciate. We've got fantastic content over here, and welcome everyone to our community. We'll all appreciate it. Okay, the next song, Yachad Piyut to Shabbat of Hanukkah, respectively. This is actually associated to Rabbi Yehuda from Toledo, if I'm not mistaken. So Rabbi Yehuda of Toledo, another famous person. Let's speak a bit about him for a minute. I think it's important always to see who was the author. He lived between 1075 to 1141. We said he's a philosopher, one of the great Torah Hazahavs of the Spanish community of his time, and was just very well decorated rabbi. He was also, I think he was a Talmid of the famous Rif also. So you can see how the brilliant Shabbat magisticness, let's just say, in of itself, would actually come out in a purest form with this specific song. Okay, so another song, Tzum Shlo Ochanu, very popular song. All communities would sing this song over here. So who was the author of the famous Tzum Shlo Ochanu? Now, first of all, we'll sing it the whole time. I think it actually comes from, I'll state what it says over here. It very much precedes, it's before the grace after meal, and the Birkat Hamazon also is popularly known as. And it says over here, so seemingly maybe came from France, if I'm not mistaken, but this pure in of itself. But many communities have different versions of it, different tunes to it. It's definitely a beautiful song, which I very much recommend, and really spills the lesson, goes together, and it's probably around the Middle Ages time, during maybe in France or some northern parts of the country. About that we'll need some clarity. Okay, another song, Sam'a Nafshi Lelohim Le'el Chai. This is from Rabbi Avram ibn Ezra. I think he was a great, I think it's a very popular Sephardi song once again. Remember, I think Rabbi Avram ibn Ezra, he composes various different tefillot of poems on various different Jewish festivals. That's something that we have to point out. I think on Yom Kippur, if I'm not mistaken, he would actually contribute also at that period of time, and very much, let's just say, he would bring over some of his songs also over there. It's the Jewish festival of Yom Kippur, obviously the most important day of the year. But Rav Ibn Ezra was a parshan, he was a philosopher also. He was a poet. He was a great rabbi of his time. And he lived between 1089 to 1164. He was 75 years of age and was the author of so many different important works. A very well decorated rabbi, one of the most famous rabbis, without doubt, in Jewish history. That's something that we should definitely point out in regards to him, and had many connections. Okay, so that's that song. And this also, this is usually on the Friday night. Now, Asadeh L'Sudata, that's connected to the famous Rabbi Yitzchak Luria Ashkenazi. Needs no real introduction, with the great mystics of Tzfat between 1534 to 1572, also known as Ari HaKadosh, one of the great rabbis of Tzfat in his time, the holy city of Israel. And we recorded a few videos regarding him. He was they were part of the Ottoman Empire at that stage in time. He had different nicknames. He was author of very many different as the Talmudic works. He was a Talmid of Rabbi Tzal Ashkenazi and Rabbi David ben Ibn Zimra, and very great rabbis. He was a Rav of Rabbi Chaim Vital and Rabbi Yosef Ibn Tabul. These are great rabbis spoken about on various occasions before he entered the city. And interesting enough, his Chatan was one of his Chatans was Rabbi Shlomo Sagis, who was another great rabbi of his time. Lived, I think, till 1587. I think he passed away at that stage in time, and was another great rabbi. I recommend everyone look at our stories of Tzaddikim section, and you can see who the different rabbis are that we recorded about. So, but this song, Asadel, is actually a tribute to him. So we'll talk about more just under 500 years ago. Avat Hadassah. This was actually written by the famous Rabbi Shalom Shabzi. It's a piyut, let's just say that. Nafut Setzel Kilitotem on Lishib Shabbat. It's a temani for the Yemenite community in of itself, respectively. Let's say something within regards to Rabbi Shalom Shabzi. We've spoken about him on the series. He lived between around 1619 to singer. He was an author. He did huge amounts of the very, very famous Payatan of his time, respectively. So very interesting. Many different commemorations are all over Israel within regards to him, one of the famous Yemenite rabbis of all time. Okay, now another song. So that I think Rabbi Shalom Shabzi's song is more of a Shabbat meal time where they will sing that. Then the Shir HaMamuna. This is also written by Rabbi Shalom Shabzi. Interesting. Now, once again, a song part of the Shabbat table in the afternoon. Now, another song is Chai Hashem O Baruch Hatzuri. It's a beautiful Musha Bereshit Suda Hashniya B'Shabbat towards the start of the Shabbat. It's got an acrostic to it, Chaim Yitzchak, which is very interesting. So I'm not too sure who actually authored the song or not, but I think it's maybe connected to the Hasidic community. Now another song, Baruch Hashem Yom Yom. This is from Rabbi Shimon ben Yitzchak Nikra Rabbi Shimon Hagadol, Musha b'Kilat Ashkenazim v'Chasdim b'Yom HaShabbat. So seemingly Rabbi Shimon Hagadol, and Rav Shimon Gadol needs no introduction. He was living around 950 to around 1020, maybe 1015, something like that. Another great Payatan of his time, great Kabbalist, I think associated to Rashi and many of the great rabbis of yesteryear. So that's something we have to point out. I think this more on the Shabbat Suda time, as we mentioned about before. Baruch Kel Elyon, associated Rabbi Baruch ben Shmuel Gnasta. This is once again, I think, from the Ashkenazi Kehila, very popular song. Different versions of it. Many of us will sing it. I recommend everyone to look into it. He was actually born himself, I think, in the year 1100. I'm not too sure when he passed away, but he was author of various different books, and very decorated family, and just another brilliant song. Also, one of the favorite songs, especially if one is doing a Shabbat gathering to sing it. That will be one of the main songs. Mavrech Shabbat. This is associated to the song. I think the famous Moroccan Paytan, Moshe ben Yaakov Adahan, who would Nahuk l'shrob ba'et aliyah at-Torah b'Shabbat boker aliyat maftir. I think they would sing this usually on Shabbat. There's different aliyot where people will be called up to the Torah and give a blessing. So this song would be actually sang, I believe, at the time period of the when the person being called up for maftir is going to be called up at that stage in time. So that's another very important song in of itself. So that's very interesting. Okay, let's explore some songs. Anyone joining in, welcome to our channel. We're exploring about the different songs which us Jewish communities will sing on the Shabbat table, respectively, over here. So, friends, welcome to our channel, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Next song we're going to speak about, Yom Zeh Mechubad Mikol Yamim Kivo Shabbat Zur Olamim. One of the famous songs. I think Rabbi Yisrael Agar, he was a Ger Tzedek, I think from the 1200s, if I'm not mistaken. And I think all the different communities will actually sing it. Sephardic, Ashkenazic, especially on the Shabbat morning meal over there. Le Moledet Shuvi Roni. This is another song associated to to the famous Hashem Mizrahi from Tunisia. and Shir Kisufim L'Shabbat L'Chvot Eretz Yisrael. Very interesting. So, who was Hashem Mizrahi? Let's speak about him. I think we've mentioned him before on this series. He's much more recent rabbi. I'm not sure if he was a chazan or a rabbi. I don't know if he had smicha per se. He lived between 1890 and he passed away on the 27th of October in 1967, which is quite interesting. I mean, it will mark his possibly his hilula over here in the coming moments. I mean, at a stage in time recently, 27th of October, I think the Hebrew date to that, I'll just find out now, just typing it in over here, 23rd of Tishrei, so it would have just been after the Jewish festival of Sukkot, would have been his Hilula. He was a musician, he was a chazan, and much can be said within regards to him, wrote various piyutim respectively, and hopefully maybe at one stage we will write a video about him and his history. I think it's very, very important, and much has been documented within regards to him. One of the famous payetans of his stage in time. Okay, now more songs we're going to go through. Now, one famous song, Yom Ze Yisrael, Yom Ze Yisrael, Ora B'Simcha, Shabbat Menucha. Okay, who is attributed to this? I think once again, Miuchas B'Te'ut Leha'ari. Once again, the Ari HaKadosh is, I think, associated to it. And also Rabbi Yitzchak Salma Chazan, he also seemingly is has some connection also to the song. I think we've mentioned his name before, and I'm not too sure exactly where he was from, but another great person of his time happened to have been. So that's another great. It's actually interesting. National Library of Israel will chronicle over much information within regards to many of these rabbis and chazans. Al Abtecha. This is, I think, once again associated to Rabbi Yehuda ben Shmuel Halavi. This is a piyut musha b'Shabbat b'kihilot Ashkenaziyot. מסוימות בשירים בבקשה של פרשת משפטים בקהילת יהודי Morocco. Okay, interesting enough. So that's some information. Ki Shmira Shabbat, the famous song, once again attributed to Rabbi Avram ibn Ezra, one of the famous people of his time. And אחד מפרטי השבת הנפוצים וידועים ביותר ומשפיע בכל שלוש סעודות שבת. It's a song that we sing on all the different סעודות on Shabbat. So usually people could sing it any time. ומושע על ידי כל קהילת בשינוי Nusach Kalim. I think there's different liturgies according to the various different communities, if I'm not mistaken. I think Ashkenazim will more do it on the Shabbat lunch, if I'm not mistaken. Derorikra Levenim Bat, another famous song from Donesh ben Lebret. Moshe Kol Keilat Beidut Besudat Shabbat Boker. So who was Donesh ben Lebret over here? He lived actually till 990, I think he did. I think it was another great Payetan, if I'm not mistaken, from Spain and Morocco. So we haven't actually spoken about him much before in this series where we've been exploring about the rabbis. Dunash ben Labrat, I think he had different writings and so on and so forth. Another famous rabbi of his time, and definitely a very popular song that happens to be. Shemrei Shabbatot. This is, I think, more of an Ashkenazi community song. So we're not too sure who the exact author is of this song, but usually on the Shabbat lunch, this will be the popular song to sing. Kol Mekadesh Shvi'i. This is once again associated to Rabbi Moshe ben Kolimos, another great rabbi of his time, and seemingly associated to the Shabbat night. Bnei Rechla. This is attributed to the Ari HaKadosh, and I think connected to Sudash Lishit. Al Mistate b'Shifrit Chavion. This is connected to Rabbi Avram Maimon, Talmid Aramak, the Talmud of the famous Ramak. I think it's a beautiful song in itself, especially in the Shabbat nighttime, if I'm not mistaken, and other communities will also do it. Now, the famous song Yedid Nefesh, attributed to Rabbi Elazar Azkari, one of the great rabbis of his time, and obviously it's a popular time. Yedid Nefesh. People will sing it also on the Friday night in the Kabbalat Shabbat. Some communities, but in Sudash Lishit, who was Rabbi Eliyahu ben Moshe Azkari. He was a famous Kabbalist. He was a Meshurar. He was one of the rabbis of Tzfat of his day. That's something we had to point out. And I think his family was actually expelled from Spain. But he was born in 1533, about nearly 2 generations after the expulsion. And I think he was a Talmud, if I'm not mistaken. of Rabbi Yosef Sagiz. He very much was at that point in time. I think he was close to Rabbi Moshe Cordovero also, and would form, I believe, the Shabbat Shalom, if I'm not mistaken, in 1588. He passed away in 1600. He's another person that we've spoken about on various occasions before in the series. So he was the author of this famous song, which I have to say, pretty much everyone would know about it. He would also learn under Rabbi Jacob Barab. That was another rabbi, and I think he was close to other rabbis and intellectuals at the time. Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Elkabetz, Rabbi Yosef Kara, the author of the Code of Jewish Law, Rabbi Isaac Luria, Rabbi Israel ben Moshe Najara. Really great fabric of incredible rabbis of his day. So that's something the author of Sefer Charedim, he happens to be. Okay, more songs. Everyone joining in, we are exploring about different songs that are on Shabbat. Okay, Yom Shabbat, that's another song. Once again with Shem HaMerabe Yonatan, מופיע באקרוסטוקיון באותיות הראשונות של בתי השיר. פיוט המושר רבי יהודה גרמניה. בכל ליל Shabbat. So I think this song is associated to Shabbat night, respectively. And accordingly, seemingly it was a German Jew that would actually author this, but I'm not too sure who actually it was. Elecha Ikra, this is another very popular song of Rabbi Shlomo Zerihen. Now, the great rabbi was talking about Zerihen before. He was from the congregation of Ma'arab. So this was a very popular song. We also, in our house, we sing this on Shabbat. Rabbi Shlomo Zerihen was a famous rabbi of his time. Now, Shir HaKavod, Miuchas LeRabbi Yehuda HaChasid, Mechastei Ashkenaz, one of the famous Ashkenazic rabbis, he would actually author this. I think it's more connected to Shabbat morning, if I'm not mistaken. Yom HaShabbat Ein Kamoho. So what song is this, friends, over here? Yom HaShabbat Ein Kamoho. Okay, so this song, I believe, Me'et Yudit Rabbi Mansur. So we're not too sure the exact author. Once again, it's connected to the Iraqi Jewish community, the song, and once again, a very, very popular song which people should actually try and learn about, sing it, and try and research it, especially in your Shabbat Zemira books, if you've got available. Another song, Yom Shabbaton Ein Lishkoach. Yom Shabbaton Ein Lishkoach, so on and so forth. Met Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. Gadol Mishra Sfard, once again connected to Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, one of the great rabbis from Spain of his point in time. So he's really let's say, one of the people are really responsible within regards to that Shabbat song. But remember, on Motzei Shabbat, also there's various different piyutim that we will sing. Also, that's something that we definitely have to point out over here. It's nothing beats the beautiful songs of Shabbat. And just to get inside it, get the feel of it itself. Now, we spoke about once again, a lot of these songs are very, very popular. Mizmor also sang during the Sudash Rishit time period. That's something else that we have to just bring about and just mention over here, respectively. The melodies of Zemira, obviously, greatly. They are diverse from one community to the other, especially in liturgical contexts, and the various different tunes, the styles of music, and so on and so forth. Many of these countries were very influenced from the countries that actually came from. So there'll be different, let's just say at that point in time, songs that will be actually sang, and so on and so forth. But one of the most important things is the Suda Shlishit, the Havdalah, respectively, also known as Motzei Shabbat. So there's a lot of songs over there. So we might have to record a separate video within regards to that. But that is very interesting. So, just community, and a lot of the dialects, I think, of Judeo-Spanish, including languages such as Hebrew, Turkish, Greek, respectively, and they bring in a lot of the culture inside of those songs also, which you have to point about. So, different kinds of music, but the Shabbat songs, the Mizmirot on Shabbat, is always beautiful. There's something also called Bakashot and Pizmonim also, which many different communities, especially Sephardic communities, always bring about. Now, I think going to it recently, because we're talking about the Shabbat Project, there's a Sephardic Pizmonim project that was apparently, which a whole website, I think, dedicated to scholarship, restoration, and preservation of the ancient Sephardic, I think more Syrian music, also founded by Rabbi David, or I'm not sure if it's Rabbi David Matuk Betesh, in memory of his great-grandfather, was a famous cantor, Gabriel A. Shrem, if I'm not mistaken, and instructor he happens to have been of Yeshiva University's Cantorial Institute, and Chazan of the Bnei Yosef Synagogue, and editor of various different important places. I think Bnei Yosef Synagogue is actually located in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. And this project in itself, bringing about to life, let's say, the various different Sephardic Pizmonim of yesteryear. So that is very, very interesting, something also that we, it's important to actually point out. So very interesting. I hope this gave you a good feel within regards to for Shabbat. It's going to come up, this week. We all try to enhance our Shabbats. I think it's very, very important to just imbue ourselves and get into spirituality and the great works that all of Am Yisrael is going through, especially after such a hard 2 years it's been, especially all over the world with anti-Semitism, unfortunately, at the moment. A lot of problems there's been all over Israel. And we really pray that there's going to be much better times ahead of us and for the whole of Am Yisrael. That's something I'll definitely have to point out over here. But Shabbat Project is this weekend, 2025, Parshat Vayera in the book of Bereshit. So we've covered a lot of short clips. Within regards to this, I don't know how many people across the world have done this from a private point of view. That's something that we've done over here. We try to inspire people all over the world here on this channel. So that's, I thought, use our platform to strengthen and bring about Shabbat observance is always a very welcomed idea, and something very, very important for all of that. So we are doing a video over here with regards to Shabbat. So I maybe I'm going to be a bit cringy now, but I think maybe because I'm speaking about the songs over here, why not let's sing a song over here from Shabbat. So which one should we choose? That's a very good question over here. I'll surprise you all. I forgot to state also that other popular songs on Shabbat, which we didn't mention about before, is Bar Yochai. That's another famous song. And let's say something about Bar Yochai, because I actually don't think I mentioned it. It's obviously to do with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, but it was written by a great rabbi, 16th century Rabbi Shimon Lavi, who was from Libya. So very interesting. So you see how Libya is getting incorporated in the, definitely with regards to one of the famous Shabbat songs of all time. Rabbi Shimon Lavi is a rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. There was a famous rabbinic dynasty in Syria of the Lavi family, and it's also a popular song on which is sang on Lag BaOmer, which we have to point out. And Shimon Lavi actually lived between 1486 to 1585. He lived nearly 100 years. He was actually born in Spain, and they left. I think his family left in 1492, relocated to Morocco, where he learned Torah and Kabbalah, and then eventually I think he would go to Tripoli. But his song arguably became one of the most popular songs in Jewish history. So let's sing a bit of it today. I think it's the hymn actually consists of 10 stanzas. We're not going to sing all of it. Each stanza beginning with the words Bar Yochai, reflecting the 10 Sfirot, and stanzas describe how Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai mastered each Sphira until he ascended to supreme mystery. So let's sing it. I'm going to sing the first verse, and then maybe the fourth or fifth one also with it to get a bit of diverseness. I'll just sing it now. Bar Yochai nimshach dashrecha shemen tzason mechabarecha Bar Yochai velistet tapuchim alita lilkot bo merkachim sotara betzitzim uberachim nasei adam nema baborecha. Let's do another verse. Bar Yochai limkom amnei shayish igata livnei arelayish gam gulat koteret alayish tashu mi yeshurecha. One more verse to finish off. Let's do the last verse. Bar Yochai asher yoldatecha asher ham lomdecha ואשרי העומדים על צודך לבושי חושן תומך באורך ויוחאי נמשכת אשריך שמן ששון מחברך. Very interesting. I don't think any of you were expecting me to sing over that. I didn't plan to sing over there, so some of my videos are spontaneous, but let's all try and keep Shabbat this week over here. Just recording this here from the city of Bet Shemesh. and nothing getting the spirits. Actually, at the time of recording, it happens to be my English birthday. The beauty about this, which I've just done, is that we've described about the various different songs that there are. This very much symbolizes the diversiveness, how diverse we are. Try and take extra things on, especially Moroccan fish on Shabbat. That is definitely the best inside the world. So very interesting. I think on that note, we can